Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Why I Love Flagler County, your local podcast to learn more about the community and ways you can get active in the community. So, thank you so much, Michael, for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, so I met Michael, what was it, about a week ago, I think, at his place, Good Vibes Nutrition, over in St. Joe's Plaza in Palm Coast. And I had, what was it? I don't remember the name of it, but it was like a mango, I think, or
Yes, colada, one of our shakes. Yes.
I think I had the tea, and I think
Oh,
Peggy had the shake. Yeah. But let me tell you, hands down, it's one of those teas that I think like you listed all the ingredients that are in it, but it tasted like a really good fruit juice, like something that you can beat at like you just go to Target for like those like really bad carbonated fruit drinks, but that
uh,
was so good.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So again, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time. A little bit about Michael is he has been in Florida since 2005, and he's had Good Vibes Nutrition since for about 4 years. And he was just telling me he opened the week of COVID. So I'll let him talk a little bit on Good Vibes and why he started opening it. Super interesting story. But Michael, you've been in Florida since 2005. Why don't you tell me a little bit about coming from Ohio to Florida? It's a pretty dramatic change coming as I'm from Michigan as well, so I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I moved in I moved in 2005 with my family. I have two boys and my beautiful wife. But we moved just to have a better lifestyle. I was in the financial industry at that point,
Mm.
and I had some friends of mine that moved down from Maryland in 2003, came down, visited with them. We had a business relationship and friendship. But while I was here, I fell in love with the area, fell in love with the weather. It was like around, I think, November-ish, December-ish
Mm.
for the holidays. And then I went back home and told my wife all about the trip. And we had an opportunity to come down and open up some offices. So we did that and talked to my wife for 15 minutes. And we're like, let's do it. We're young. Our boys were young at that point. I think they were like 3 and 6, 3 and 5, something like that. And we just jumped at it. So it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I tell everybody it's the second best decision I ever made in my life. The first one was marrying my wife.
That's a good one. I think that's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
So did you move to Flagler specifically at first or just Florida?
No, came right to Flagler. My friends had moved into the F section, like I said, in 2003. We
Hmm.
came down here, and once I made the decision, we made the decision to move down here. My brother and his family also moved down. I had moved down a couple of ahead to find a place to live, and sorry, I had gotten a call.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
good.
so I moved ahead of them a couple weeks, got our rental established, and then everybody moved down, and we kind of all plowed into the same house. There was at that point there was seven of us at one time, so we had a great time living together for a couple of years.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And being in Flagler since 2005, I mean, you're basically a founder of Flagler. I feel like everyone, I mean, it's me, I'm so new. So that's so cool. I'm sure you've just seen it dramatically change.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of growth in Flagler County. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've met some incredible people that have come in my business that have been here since the beginning of Flagler
Mm-hmm.
County. And I've actually run across a couple people that were born here in this area and just to talk to them about the growth. But I know in the short time that I've been here, which doesn't seem like short since 2005, we've seen an incredible growth and absolutely amazing explosion in the area.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, I would love for you to talk a little bit about Good Vibes and how you came to want to start it, to starting it, and then eventually launching it the week of COVID.
Yeah. So to kind of back up, back in 2017, late 2017, I was almost 360 pounds. I had tightness in my chest,
Mm.
night terrors. I was struggling with my health, and I knew the writing was on the wall that if I didn't change my health, that I couldn't see myself surviving past 50, 55. And so the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, my wife woke me up 2 o'clock in the morning screaming, and my wife's about, I don't know, 100 pounds wet, and so she woke me up screaming. I turned on the light, and here I was standing on the bed, standing over top of her, and that scared me because we've been we've been together for 30 years, been married
Oh,
28 years, and
congrats.
adore my wife. And I realized, I told her, I said something the next day, Sunday, I told her something had to change, something had to give. I had to focus, I had to do something about my health because the direction I was heading was not in a good direction. And so she wanted me to go see a doctor, and I knew, like, I just felt like the doctors were just going to pump me full of medicine. And so I made the decision to actually meet with my pastor
Mm.
and down, studied some scriptures, and I felt good. Started feeling a little bit better. But about a week later, I went to a networking event. At that point, I was working with my brother. I exited the financial industry, and I was in the automotive industry. Believe it or not, my brother owns Mobile Mark, and so we went to a networking event with a friend of ours that was opening up a business, Shane Bonner at the Channel. If you're familiar with the Channel over on Palm Harbor, phenomenal business. But so we went and we support his business, and we show up and we're in our typical t-shirts and shorts, mechanics outfits, and everybody's dressed in suits and ties. But while I was there, I met a couple that I was friends with on Facebook, and Zach and Emily Shapiro, and I knew that they were They didn't know me, I didn't know them, but I knew that they were helping people lose weight. And so I walked up to them, introduced myself to them, and I had a 15-minute conversation about getting healthier, losing weight, and so forth. So I ended up meeting up with them a couple days later, got set up on a nutrition program, Herbalife nutrition program to be specific. And I ended up losing 100 pounds in 6 months.
Wow.
Changed my life. So every step along that journey, God had his finger on every single step of that journey. And so once I lost my weight, and I was still a mechanic, mind you, I started having people reach out to me, wanted to know what I was doing. My customers wanted to know what I was doing. My family wanted to know what I was doing. My friends wanted to know what I was doing. And so what I did is I just started sharing with them what I was doing with this specific nutrition program. And it wasn't like a diet. It was more of a
Hmm.
healthy lifestyle change, just utilizing, and I started putting good stuff into my body and teaching other people how to put good stuff into their bodies. So along that journey, I also started cutting out the fast foods, started cutting out the sugary foods, started cutting out the carbonated drinks, the gas station food, the fast food, stuff like that. And but towards the end of my journey of losing 100 pounds, I was working with about 70 people over a course of about a year. And we had 40 plus people lose over 50 pounds. We had 3 or 4 people lose 100 pounds. And so I kind of felt like God was using me and my testimony to help other people with their health. Because I felt like God literally took me out of the jaws
Hmm.
uh, of heading down this road with my health, that it was my job now to use that as a testimony to help other people. And
Yeah.
so I just began that process of helping people, and we had phenomenal results. And then God started putting into my heart that maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing for a living, that maybe everything in my life up to this point had prepared me for this opportunity to own my own business, by helping people. That's really what I look at, is all I do every day, every single day, is I help people. I help people mentally, I help people physically, I help people every way I can. And so back in, so this, by then, late 2019, my oldest son moved to LA for a job. My youngest son, the following month, went into the Navy. Me and my wife fell into a little bit of depression. Nobody knew. We didn't, like, make it public, but
Right.
like when your purpose in life is your children, and that purpose is now out leading their purpose, there's a little hole, and so we had to find a way to fill that hole. And so we prayed, we did some studying, and God put it in my heart to open up my nutrition club. And so basically, what a nutrition club is, think of it as a healthy bar where people in the community come to and focus on their health and their happiness, socializing, listening to music, communicating, networking. Think of it as like a networking hub. So we got a lot of things going on at one time, but they're all
Right.
connected. And so late 2019, we wrote down our goals was to open up our nutrition club. by July of 2020. And the very first Sunday of 2020, I live 7 minutes from my business. I happened to be going to St. Joe Plaza Ace Hardware,
Mm-hmm.
and walking back to my car, I noticed the spaces for rent. So I walk up, look inside, and everything washes over me. Said, "This is it. This
Mm-hmm.
is." Before I knew it, I'm signing leases and money's flying left and right. And we open up March 9th of 2020. And I don't know if you remember what happened that week, but that was the official kind of explosion. They were shutting down
Yep.
the air. So we open up. Keep in mind, we open up the first day, Monday, March 9th. We did a phenomenal day. We made like over 104 shakes, which in our business is kind of like the gold standard.
Right.
And I was like, we hit the mother load. Like we hit, great location, great people. Everything was to come together. And the next day, people start coming in and asking me if I heard about this virus. And I'm like, no, I've been working. I've been busting my butt. We've been painting and doing floors and stuff. And so I came home Tuesday night, and my wife's like, "Did you hear about the virus?" Now, mind you, my wife's still working her
Mm-hmm.
job. I left my job so I could open up the business. And but before we knew it, my wife asked me if I was worried. I said I should be worried, but God knows the beginning, He knows the end, and He knows everything in between.
Right.
And so Wednesday morning, I went in and I walked around my business and I said, "God, this is yours. Everything in this business, everything in this community is yours. And if it fails, I'm going to let everybody know about it. If it succeeds, I'm going to let everybody know about it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's up to you. I'm just here to work. I'm here to serve." And so we never had to close. 2 weeks after the virus kind of hit and the stock market's crashing and everything else, we got an email saying that we're deemed essential. And that was from the government. So
Mm-hmm.
we put that on the door. We had to pull the chairs. They didn't want people coming in and lingering and things like
Sure.
that. But we did crazy stuff like deliveries and curbside service and all kinds of crazy stuff. But we did what we had to do to keep going in the beginning. And so from the great community that we live in and the people that I've gotten a chance to build relationships over the last couple of years, I'll rush to help us to support our business. And I'm not saying like we're ultimately successful, but
Right.
to do well enough in the community to maintain um, what we need to do to be successful. So we
Right.
just devote our time to help people, talk to people, coach people, everything. People come in, enjoy a healthy shake, an energy tea. We got all kinds of shakes, all kinds of energy teas. Everything in our club and our business is designed to help our bodies, whether it's lose weight, more energy, better digestive process. And not only that, we have people come in and hang out and have a great place to socialize and network. But we also have many folks at home use our nutrition on a daily basis. So
Mm-hmm.
we can nutrition programs for folks that are really serious about accomplishing their goals. And then they come in, for example, let's say they want to lose weight. They come in once a week. They'll weigh in with us. We help them through not only their weight numbers, but there's other numbers that we track. There's about 10 different numbers that we're tracking. Not only their weight, but we track like water percentage, muscle percentage, fat percentage, visceral fat. What else? There's something else, but I'm forgetting it.
It's
So
okay.
anyway, we track all kinds of numbers because weight is not the only number.
Right.
That's probably the number that I'm least focused on when I'm helping people. But so yeah, we have a great time doing that, and all kinds of good stuff going on.
Wow, that's awesome. That is such a great story from, I mean, that's so inspiring on so many different levels. And it's so great that you were able to really work through COVID because I mean, I know Florida was a lot more lax in general. I'm from Michigan. I was still in Michigan during the pandemic. It was a lot. And then I remember when we came down to Port Orange, like November-ish of 2020, we were like, this is a completely different place. This is a completely different country than where
Yeah,
we are in Michigan. But also huge want to highlight saying a prayer like that, like, God, this is all for you. This is I completely trust you. It's such a scary thing to pray for, but it ultimately, if it's true and you do completely have all that trust in the Lord, then he does great things. So
Absolutely.
huge. Yeah.
When you step out in faith, that's where the biggest breakthroughs happen.
Right. Like my family's not been Christian our whole life, but as we've all like gone through like learning more and more because we're kind of like on the baby side of it. But I mean, when I kind of unlocked that prayer for the first time, I was like, this is crazy. It's like one of those things where it's like you can't you just can't fathom what happens when you really put that trust and faith in there.
That's right. And a lot of times you can't see it and you don't know where it's going to come from. You don't know, sometimes you don't even know how to pray for what you need in your life.
Right.
Just pray and you be great.
Hmm.
You be grateful for everything that you have in your life, no matter what little, what a lot that you have in your life. Just make sure you're always grateful for that. And then also make sure that you're every chance you have putting good stuff into the world, into the universe, and whatever your spiritual beliefs are,
Right.
always good out there.
Hmm.
That's one of the reasons I've always wanted a business called Good Vibes.
Right.
I didn't be in nutrition. I just knew that, like, I told my wife one time, I want to figure out a way to be positive 24 hours a day. I know that's impossible, but at the same time, I keep working my way to that point. I don't want no negative thoughts. I don't want no, even not necessarily negative thoughts about other people, but negative thoughts about myself. Like, we're always constantly beating up ourselves. And so in our business, when people come in, they can feel, I'll call it the presence of God in our business, but there's something different inside. Because as soon as people walk in, we acknowledge them, we celebrate them. If I know their name, I'm going to call them by their name. Or if I don't know their name, I'll say, "Hey, champ," or something.
Right.
Because everybody to me is a champion. Everybody is a champ. You can ask anybody that knows me. I'm either calling them champion or champ because everybody's going through something and they're pushing through something and they're going to
Hmm.
get the other side of that something. And
Right.
so to do that as a champion,
Yeah, my family owned a Chinese restaurant up in Michigan for about 45 years. And my
yeah,
aunt was the same way in how she ran the business. Like she was very heavy on building relationships with each customer. It doesn't matter if you've only been here a few times. She tries to remember you as much as possible, whether it's your name, like your kids, your family, what you like to do as hobbies. And you could just feel the difference with those customers, you know? They would come in and they instantly knew what to expect in a great way, and they brought that energy to everyone else in the restaurant, and it was life changing.
yeah, I believe a lot of people. We take pride in our business with to have a name called Good Vibes. You got to put good vibes out nonstop. You
Right.
know, and we don't. You're not going to come into a place called Good Vibes and then get negativity or rumors or like stuff like that. Like when people come in, they know. Like if I see them for a couple times, I'm gonna ask them so many questions about how their weekend was. What did they do last weekend? What are they doing this weekend? What are you doing tonight? How's your exercise going? How's your water going? How's your mom doing? How's your son doing? How's the dog doing? I'm sorry, things like that. Like in a world today where people are, whether it's their family or their job, they're not appreciated. The dog doesn't appreciate them, the wife doesn't appreciate them, the husband doesn't appreciate them, the job doesn't appreciate them. They come in and somebody appreciates them when they come in and talks to them and takes an interest in their life. Nobody takes any interest in anybody. We're all looking down at our freaking cell phones nowadays. I
Right.
mean, obviously we're on our phones right now doing this Zoom, but um, we're having a conversation back and forth. We're not like looking down, flipping through social media. So it's this double-edged sword with social media nowadays. We're so engrossed in it that we're missing every life experience there is with happiness of socializing with other people. Recently, we did we did it one time. We're going to do it again, but it was a singles night. Me and my wife been together for 28 years. Been married 28 years. I've been together 30 years, and people are like, what's the key? What do you do? Like, how, like, what do you guys do? Like, you guys still do date night, and you've been married 38 or 28 years. You guys do date night once a week. So I wanted to figure out a way to communicate and talk to single people about like how to date in the world today, And so I made them all put their cell phones away, things that involved interacting. We've gotten away from interacting with each other, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on a relationship level. Like, you go to a store now and you start talking to sometimes people, and people think you're like flirting with them. No, it's just a
Right.
conversation. Like, I'm just friendly. So
Right.
away from that, we need to get more back to that. That's what God created us to do, was to interact with each other, communicate with each other, and figure out ways. Each and every one of us were created to socialize and help each other. There's something that I have that other people need, and there's something that other people have that I need. And
Right.
so take that skill, whatever God put inside of us, and that's what we're supposed to be using. And so with our business, we've taken all those skills that God gave us, and we put them into one place so where people can come and hopefully get inspired, hopefully have something that when they leave from there, they just feel a lot better. I believe a lot of customers come in our business just because we take an interest and make them feel better.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can't really underestimate that power of making someone feel special. I mean, there's so much going on in the world. There's especially like on social media, people like to either highlight the really big highs or the really low lows that this kind of, I wouldn't say middle, but maybe like in between-ish, where you just kind of want to get to know someone. You just want to know them for who they are, and you want to give them the feeling like you care about them. That's just what anyone wants to feel at any time. Um, but Michael, I can definitely attest to your place has amazing vibes, and you're definitely a really great steward of what you say, which I think is very important, of course, but I can just feel that radiating off of you. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing a few minutes with me. This has been so amazing. You have such a great story, and I'm so honored that you chose to share it with me and that you continue to share it with the community. I
thank
think
you.
that's really special.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, what is the best way? So you are in St. Joe's Plaza. What is the best way someone can support you, maybe online, things like that? And where can they find you? And what might they want to find you for?
So a couple things. We have, of course, in St. Joe Plaza, right next to Ace Hardware. Most people are familiar with like Brown Dog, phenomenal burgers on cheat day. Um, uh, in between those two, so you can come and see us. We through the end of the year, we changed our hours a little bit. We're open 6 a.m. till 5 p.m. Normally we're open until 7 p.m. And then Saturdays we're open 7 to 3 p. Excuse me, 7 to 2 p.m. Sunday are closed. And then let's see, we got our website, which is www.goodvibesnutritionpc.com. We have our Facebook and our Instagram. Please make sure you're friends with us. Facebook, it's Good Vibes Nutrition of Palm Coast. And then on Instagram, it's Good Vibes Nutrition PC. Also, just as a side note, we're part of a national mission. There's other nutrition clubs like our own. We own our own. It's not a franchise. But we all utilize the same nutrition inside of our what's called nutrition clubs. Across the United States, there's more nutrition clubs than there are Starbucks. And so we are part of a mission called We Do Transformations. It's a 21-day challenge that starts the first Monday of every month. And basically, it's not based on weight loss, it's not based on weight gain, but it's based on transformation of pictures. So, for example, when someone wants to be a part of the transformation challenge, we start them on a Monday, and before a couple days before that, up to a couple days after that, we do 3 pictures before, we do 3 pictures at the end of the 21 days, and then we have coaches all across the United States that basically judge those pictures based on results, again, whether it's putting on muscle or losing weight. And there's 10 $1,000 winners of those transformations. Now, the only key to the program is they have to be plugged into our nutrition one way or another, whether it's through our nutrition club or at home. So if anybody's interested in that, they can reach out to us and we can help them. So, other than that, also, I have folks, like I said, that use our nutrition on a daily basis at home. And so, our absolute focus, bottom line, is health and happiness every day.
Wow, that's awesome. So I'll make sure I have all of those links in the description so people can find them just a little bit easier. Make sure you go check it out. Definitely recommend their teas. And then I was with a lady, she had the shake. She scarfed it down. She loved that. So again, Michael, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. This has been a total
Thank,
blast.
thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate you.
Of course. I'll see you all next time. Bye.